Am I the asshole for refusing to let my sister live with me after she insulted my daughter? I, 34M, have a 10-year-old daughter, Sora. She's an incredible kid, but unfortunately she was born with a condition that affects her speech and movement. My family has always been supportive, except for my sister, 29F, who has been quite insensitive over the years. Recently, my sister went through a rough divorce and asked if she could move in with us for a few months to get back on her feet. At first I agreed, because despite her faults, she's my sister. However, at a family dinner last weekend, she made a cruel joke about Emma's condition, saying something like, "At least I won't have to deal with her voice all the time." I was furious, but I didn't want to blow up in front of Sora, so I waited until after dinner. I confronted my sister and told her that her comment was hurtful and disgusting and that I would no longer offer her a place to stay. She blew up at me, saying that I was overreacting, that I was putting my child before my family, and that she was making light of the situation. Now my parents and some family members are saying I'm being too harsh, and she's having a hard time. I don't think I can forgive her easily, and I want to protect my daughter. Am I the asshole for refusing to let her move in after what she said? Not the asshole 100%. At least I won't have to deal with her voice all the time. She lost any right to help and succor from you. There and then, I was putting my child before my family, and that she was making light of the situation. That has to be the worst attempt at self-exculpation I've ever seen. Your child is your family and first priority. Absolute kudos for being the dad she needs and every child deserves. Now my parents and some family members are saying I'm being too harsh, and she's having a hard time. Tough. You aren't being too harsh. You're protecting and shielding your daughter from being exposed to a total Let your parents or those family members put their money and resources where their mouths are and offer her a place to stay. She blew up at me, saying that I was overreacting, that I was putting my child before my family. Ha 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 ha. Anyone who imagines they are a bigger priority to me than my children is so delusional they no longer inhabit the same plane of reality. If you didn't put your kid first, you'd be an Not the asshole. Not the asshole. And pay attention to that line about your daughter versus your family. Your sister does not view your daughter as family. Hell, maybe not even as human. Keep your daughter safe. And you probably want to distance yourself from any family that take her side. I'd also turn the tables on your parents and ask them if they view their granddaughter as something other than family if they are so fast to defend your sister. Not the asshole. Your first priority is protecting your daughter, and your sister's comment was completely out of line. Making a joke about Sora's condition, especially one so cruel, is not something to take lightly. You did the right thing by setting boundaries and refusing to let someone who disrespects your child stay in your home. Your family should understand that. It's not about putting one family member over another, it's about protecting your child from hurtful behavior. Not the asshole. She singled out your child as in the flesh of your flesh but not part of her family, and that is the most disgusting twisted talkie on anything I've ever read. If she doesn't view your child as family, then she is nothing to you and deserves to be treated as such. If your family doesn't support you in this, then that's their problem, not yours. You don't need them. Not the asshole. Let her move in with the family that thinks they get to have an opinion then. Your child is your family. Am I the asshole for not helping my husband? Update. He called me 7 times yesterday. I haven't answered once. He has moved on to calling our son, who is also not answering. My son and I are going to move forward. We looked up the court docket. He has 1 felony, 4th and 8 misdemeanors, all which call for 100 days. I am going to file for divorce on Monday. He has burned every last bridge down to the ground. I have enough to worry about. I don't need him making things harder. You are all correct. He did this to himself. I am not going to deny I am scared. My biggest fear is the same reason I stayed with him so long, financial. I am going to have to lean on my son a bit and that crushes me, but he and I will be much happier too. I looked over old text messages he would send while drunk. I would block his verbal abuse and he would call me evil, etc. Thank you all for your love and support. I needed clear vision and the amazing words of so many of you. I am going to keep this as short as I can. Me, 52 female, and my husband, 47 male, have been married 24 years. We had 1 child who is now an adult, 20 male, who is a junior in college. I hesitate to post this because I don't want all the podcast people to pick this up. Please understand how much taking this story from this sub will hurt me and leave this here please. My husband is an alcoholic. I came from a world where people rarely drank. He had promised me he would stop drinking when our son was born. His reply to that was, "You knew I was a drinker when you married me." He had a DUI 10 years ago and I supported him through it. He came out of it with 8 years sobriety. He fell off the wagon 2 years ago and life has been a series of broken promises, cheating on me and lies. For instance, he told his company workers that he gave out son $60K towards college. Our son has scholarships and loans. He took my car, without my permission. We knew he was drunk, so my son and I went looking for him so he could take back the car. We couldn't find him. He ended up hitting a semi-truck at 2 a.m., smashed into a guardrail and fled the scene. The state police dogs caught him. No one was hurt but him. He is in jail. $10K bail. He asked me to ask his boss, whose wife was hit by a drunk driver last October, and he told me to tell him no. He has burned his bridges with them. Here where I feel like I am the awe. He keeps calling me from jail, asking me to find a way to bail him out. I certainly have no money. I am disabled and my disability check pays the mortgage. He doesn't give me much money. I stopped sharing a bed with him so he tightened the purse strings tighter. So, he is in jail. He is going to stay. He has been calling me begging him to put money into his inmate account. I need whatever money to pay bills. I already told him I was filing for divorce. Will I be the asshole if I just block the calls and walk away? Because that's really what I want to do, but I feel so guilty. Not the asshole. Get rid of this man. He's an alcoholic, he cheated on you, he lies to everybody, etc. Get this man out of your life and let him rot in prison. Not the asshole. In addition to him deserving to be in jail for what he did, if he gets out, he'll just drive drunk again ASAP and probably kill someone next time. You literally don't have the money. Please leave him. Inta. Whoever he was cheating with can bail him out. Nope, move on and don't look back. Is my first option for you. Now the most important follow-up is with your son. You need to be brutally honest with him and tell him why you are finally taking these steps to remove yourself from a very unhealthy relationship. Don't badmouth his father, stick to the facts, and you really are making these changes out of the love you had for his father. Financially, this is the only possible way for his father to receive the treatment he needs to see how much damage he has done to himself and others. You will support your son if he does continue his relationship with his father as long as he becomes sober and provides a healthy relationship with him. Best wishes, thumbs up. Not the asshole. That you even asked his boss for money is more than I, and I suspect many others, would have done in the same situation. This action alone shows how deeply you were pulled into his lifestyle. Now is the perfect time to make a break. It may feel like kicking him when he's down, but you're actually doing the opposite, in my opinion. By doing this now, you're giving yourself an opportunity for a clean break and will be able to handle things without his addiction's interference. Best of luck to you. Not the asshole. You're divorcing him. It's really easy to serve someone divorce papers when they are in jail. That's the only thing I'd be sending him while he is in jail. Am I the asshole for telling a girl to stop pretending to have something she doesn't? I, 23F, have ADHD and struggle daily with starting work, eating, and sleeping. I'm unmedicated due to long wait times for consultations. One of my friends has a GF, Eva, 23, who claims she has ADHD after she watched TikToks, even though she's got no diagnosis, already has depression and anxiety. Her GP said she barely met the referral score for ADHD, 55%. Eva started making exaggerated claims after the COVID lockdowns, claiming being excited to see people and procrastination was ADHD. At first, I ignored it as it's common for people to misuse mental health terms, but it became frustrating when she began talking about wanting medication and the lack of ADHD support in our country. She moved here for college. I offered her resources that helped me manage ADHD, but she dismissed me, saying I wasn't really ADHD because my life was in order, even though she only sees me in social settings. Eva constantly posts ADHD memes in our group chat, which no one reacts to. Friends have told me they're tired of her constant ADHD claims. And when I mention my struggles, like poor sleep, in a social setting, she's condescending, telling me to just get off my phone at bedtime. Her dismissive attitude towards my experience with ADHD feels hurtful, especially since I've dealt with it my whole life. Eva's boyfriend, Dave, is oblivious, and when my boyfriend tried to talk to him about her behavior, Dave said I was overreacting. Last night, after yet another ADHD sob story, I called her out in the group chat, telling her to stop pretending and seek a proper diagnosis if she thinks she needs it, and I told her her attention-seeking behavior was hurtful. Some people said in the GC I was wrong, but I received DMs from them thanking me. Am I the asshole? I've fought since I was 7 for my ADHD to be taken seriously, and if Eva weren't so rude, I might have let it go and stayed quiet. Eva has called me an asshole over it all, but I think I'm in the right. Comments she's made at me that didn't fit the main story. OMG, you're so fucked in the head for not having the ability to do your work on time. Fuck sake, why don't you just start your work earlier? You're so fucked up for not having your life together. You could do with skipping a few meals anyway, so it's not a big deal that you haven't been really eating recently. Edit. Her claims of ADHD came after a friend got an autism diagnosis and Eva said she was the last girl in the group without a cool diagnosis. When she initially thought she had ADHD, I gave her resources to help and offered support. She was doing things like running round the living room like a dog with zoomies and saying, "OMG, I'm so ADHD." Another one that she does is interrupt people while they're talking and saying, "It's my ADHD, I can't help it." I understand that I am not a professional, but she refused a diagnosis from the appropriate places after her GP said the screening questions overlap a lot with anxiety and depression symptoms. She tells me things like, "That's not an ADHD thing, I know because I have ADHD." I was at my wit's end. Not the asshole. I understand that diagnosis can be a long and difficult process, so I try to have compassion for those who are figuring it out. However, Eva went from, "probably obnoxious AF," to, "Wow, what in the actual fuck?" with this. I wasn't really ADHD because my life was in order, even though she only sees me in social settings. She's seriously going to gatekeep the person with an actual diagnosis. You'd think she'd know women are really good at masking, by the way. Her dismissive attitude towards my experience with ADHD feels hurtful, especially since I've dealt with it my whole LBTW. Because it is hurtful. She wants you to be supportive while she's tearing you down. Nope, you don't need that around you. Soon, not the asshole. I get this. Oh, how I get this. ADHD has literally ruined my life. I was properly diagnosed in my adulthood by a specialist. I took a battery of tests over several weeks to earn my diagnosis. I have paid numerous heavy prices in my life because of my ADD. With numerous dreams slipping right through my fingers. Then I run into self-diagnosed people who start saying, "we," when discussing an issue. No honey, there is no we. There is you semi-successfully leading your life, granted, with issues. And then there is me trudging through this train wreck known as my life. No, thank you, we are not in this together. Esh. If she met the referral score, she met the referral score. Yes, she needs more testing to confirm, but clearly she has some of the symptoms and therefore struggles with some everyday tasks, regardless of whether she ends up getting the diagnosis. She sounds like she is also generally an asshole. That is a separate problem. Don't gatekeep ADHD. Esh. You are being shitty to yourself by continuing to stay in touch with someone who talks to you this way. Your issue isn't with her ADHD claims, which may or may not be fake. You only see her in social settings too and don't know her private struggles. Your issue is that she berates you and talks down at you. She diminishes your own struggles, is rude about them. You then transpose the resentment and hurt you feel about that by mirroring her behavior and wanting to invalidate her claims, because that's what she is doing to you. But the solution isn't for you to behave towards her the way she is towards you. The solution is to stop socializing with someone who talks to you and treats you this way. As a medicated late DX ADHD adult, I'm sorry but Ash. Confused face. No one, I repeat, no one can rule out ADHD or any other condition for another person, especially if you're not her psychiatrist, psychologist. Scoring 55%, or whatever is not the sole qualifier for a clinical diagnosis. That's why multiple, minimum 3-4, consultations are the standard during assessment. You are both invalidating each other's experiences. You are the asshole for thinking you are the gatekeeper of ADHD. Her mistreating you is a separate issue. Am I the asshole for telling a male friend his personal hygiene is atrocious? I told a male friend that his personal hygiene is atrocious. He never stops moaning that he can't get a girlfriend. I've tried hinting to him about his personal hygiene, but I finally snapped last week and told him he always looks dirty and takes no pride in himself, and I'm not surprised he can't get a girlfriend. He said I'm out of order and that I'm supposed to be his friend, and now he's not talking to me. Am I the asshole because we are friends? Not the asshole. You tried to hint at the issue before and, while it might have been blunt, you eventually gave him honest feedback. Sometimes friends need tough love, especially when it comes to something like hygiene, which can affect social interactions. The way you delivered the message could have been more tactful, but your intention was to help him, not hurt him. If he's upset, it might be worth apologizing for how you said it, but not for addressing the problem. A true friend would want to help him improve, even if it's uncomfortable. That's the thing, he will comment about other people looking dirty and scruffy but can't see it in himself. He hasn't always been like it. Crazy how I've gotten praised on dates or when going to do the deed because I was freshly showered and smelled good. It's the bare minimum, loudly crying. Info. So is his hygiene really bad? Like, does he smell? Greasy hair? Dirty clothes? What? Not the asshole. You can lead a horse to water but you can't make him shower. You are being a good friend. You told him the truth he needed to hear. Not the asshole. The delivery probably could have been better, but the truth is the truth.